I'm an innocent man, Your Honor, and I have always been an innocent man.
The judgment of conviction is vacated and a new trial will be ordered.
Eric Kelley and Centurion client Ralph Lee were acquitted of a 1996 felony murder and robbery on April 6, 2018. In September 2017, a New Jersey Superior Court judge reversed the convictions when DNA evidence identified a different suspect. Post-conviction DNA testing of the hat eliminated Kelley and Lee and identified a man who had recently been released from prison for a similar offense as the assailant.
Therefore, in light of the foregoing reasons, the motion for a new trial is hereby granted.
After Kelley and Lee were granted bail, the prosecution quickly appealed the ruling and their release. In March of 2018, the Superior Court of New Jersey Appellate Division unanimously supported Judge Joseph Portelli's overturning of the convictions. Kelley and Lee were convicted of murdering Tito Marino in 1993 due to their contradictory police testimony. The Patterson police interviewed them separately for hours. Despite brain injury from a car accident, Kelley admitted to the murder when questioned initially. Lee's interrogators admitted to using Kelley's information. No questioning notes or recordings exist. Only police-typed statements signed by Kelley and Lee prove the confessions. Kelley gave police the fencing and knife locations of the stolen goods, according to reports. The crime scene evidence disproved their confessions, and the police could not corroborate them. Before their arrests, police were searching for one suspect in Marino's stabbing death during the theft of his Patterson video business. Police found a green and purple checkered baseball cap beside the victim's corpse. Police submitted it for DNA testing in hopes of identifying the killer, but the findings were inconclusive due to the technology's limitations. In October of 2010, the court allowed retesting of the hat against prosecution opposition. All except Kelley and Lee have male DNA.
Mainly, I want to eat. I'm a little hungry. My legal team, I want to thank them. I want to thank my family. Just want to get back to actually living for once.
3 men robbed a Houston cash-checking establishment in April of 2003, killing the clerk and the responding police officer. The next day, police arrested 21-year-old Alfred Dewayne Brown, Deshaun Glaspie, and 23-year-old Elijah Joubert for capital murder. Glaspie accepted a 30-year sentence for armed robbery. He testified against Brown and Joubert, telling authorities Brown shot the police officer. Brown and Joubert were condemned to death in Harris County Criminal District Court after separate trials. Many witnesses tried Brown. An employee of the shop adjacent to the check-cashing store testified that he was 85% positive that Brown was one of the 2 individuals in his store before the robbery who left and walked toward the check-cashing establishment. Another witness saw Brown with Glaspie and Joubert earlier in the day and heard Glaspie ask Joubert, "Are you ready to do this?" Glaspie then loaded a handgun. Brown's ex-girlfriend said she saw him at Glaspie and Joubert's apartment after the crime. She stated he was in a vehicle that resembled a fleeing criminal car and that Glaspie and Joubert were close. The defense claimed Brown was innocent and Glaspie was more engaged than he claimed.
This is the report detailing Alfred Brown's investigation.
The thrust of the report is Alfred Dewayne Brown. The evidence shows that he was not present at the crime scene and therefore is actually innocent of the charges against him, could not have been guilty of the murder of Officer Clark. It had to have been someone else besides Alfred Dewayne Brown. That was certainly wrong.
When detained, Brown informed officers he was sleeping on his girlfriend's sofa. Erica Dockery, Brown's girlfriend, supported his alibi before the grand jury. She confirmed Brown's claim that he contacted Dockery from her house phone when police assumed he was with Joubert and Glaspie. After being rigorously questioned by the prosecution, Dockery altered her evidence and stated Brown confessed. The jury convicted Brown of capital murder on October 8, 2005. The jury sentenced him to death days later. Brown's lawyers hired Texas death row exoneree Anthony Graves to interview Dockery in 2011, despite her years-long refusal. Dockery recanted her trial evidence and told Graves and a Brown investigator she lied because the prosecution intimidated her. She recanted her evidence in a sworn declaration, claiming the prosecution intimidated her. In 2013, a murder investigator uncovered case documents in his garage and informed Brown's lawyers. A telephone log showed that Dockery called her office from home at 10:08 a.m., as Brown had said. The trial prosecutor's subpoena to the phone provider showed that the district attorney's office had the crucial phone record at trial, but did not give it to the defense. Harris County District Attorney Mike Anderson filed a habeas corpus petition with the defense. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals granted the petition, invalidated Brown's conviction, and ordered a retrial in November 2014. John Bunn broke down in court after being cleared of murder 27 years after he was wrongly convicted as a teenager. The now 41-year-old John Bunn sobbed as he thanked a New York court for clearing him of murdering corrections officer Ronaldo Nisher in 1991. He was just 14 when he was detained in connection with the murder, and after being found guilty of murder using contaminated evidence, he served 17 years in jail. Although Mr. Bunn, a Brooklyn resident, was granted parole in 2009, he persisted in trying to clean his record. He was exonerated when a former investigator who had looked into Nisher's murder was charged with fabricating testimony, faking evidence, and coercing confessions. On the basis of the evidence of the lone witness, Robert Crossan, a second prison officer who survived the shooting, Mr. Bunn and his companion, Rosine Hargrave, who was 17 at the time, were found guilty of murdering Nisher. Detective Louis Scarcella, a disgraced former star detective whose casework has sparked a thorough inquiry of Brooklyn's district attorney, lined up the kids for a portrait. Numerous convictions have been reversed, and numerous cases connected to Mr. Scarcella are now being investigated. Judge Sean D. Simpson of the Brooklyn Supreme Court overturned Mr. Bunn's conviction in 2016 and ordered a new trial. According to local media, prosecutors said on Tuesday that they were dismissing charges owing to a lack of evidence.
I'm an innocent man, Your Honor, and I have always been an innocent man, Your Honor. I want to say thank you, Your Honor, because it's been 27 years I've been fighting for my life.
He said, "I want to thank you so much for what you have done for me in saving my life and the lives of my family. I've been battling for my life and maintaining my innocence for 27 years. To do that, a fearless judge is required."
Y'all convicted and had a wrong man in prison, and now y'all still have somebody that's on the loose that's right now that killed someone, and that families out there running free. And I didn't deserve any of that stuff that y'all did.
He responded, "You all had the wrong man this whole time, and you have someone out there running free," speaking to the prosecution. "You had no business acting the way you did." Additionally, Mr. Hargrave, whose murder conviction was overturned in 2015, won't be put on trial again. Glenn Garber, Mr. Bunn's attorney, said that the flaws in the prosecution's case were very obvious. "There was no probable cause to make an arrest," said Mr. Garber of the Exoneration Initiative, which offers free legal assistance to anyone in New York who has been wrongfully convicted. Ms. Simpson, who was clearly upset when she exonerated Mr. Bunn, concurred. She remarked, "This case was tried, a jury was chosen, evidence was delivered, and it was over in one day. That doesn't seem like justice to me at all." The Riverside County District Attorney's Office dropped a murder case against a Corona woman on Thursday after the prosecution admitted they couldn't establish her guilt. The Corona lady was imprisoned for murdering her lover in 2003 after her attorneys successfully argued that she had inadequate legal counsel during her conviction. The California Supreme Court ordered a new trial for Kimberly Louise Long, 45, in November 2020, when her lover, Oswaldo Ozzy Conde, was found dead in her residence. Long was charged with murder after 2 trials. The jury could not reach a verdict in the first trial, which began in 2005. In December 2005, she was convicted of second-degree murder. She was indicted for 15 to life in 2006. Her attorneys disputed her 2014 arrest. Long informed the police about Conde's Corona home incident on October 6, 2003. Police found Conde dead in a horrible scenario. His autopsy indicated blunt force injuries. After confessing to the authorities that she and Conde had fought before his death, Long was arrested. Long worked with the California Innocence Project and the California Western School of Law to appeal her conviction to the California Supreme Court. According to the Innocence Project, Long and her attorney were able to persuade the jury that she had no blood marks on her clothes, despite Conde's body being covered in blood. She passed a polygraph test, but the police disregarded it. She had a witness who saw her drop dead at the apartment hours after Conde died. A cigarette butt with unidentifiable DNA was found at the murder location. In 2016, the Riverside County Superior Court judge who presided over Long's trials approved her request for a new trial. According to the district attorney's office,
The judgment of conviction is vacated and a new trial will be ordered.
he did so because he agreed that she had inadequate legal advice throughout her trial that led to her conviction, not because he felt she was innocent. The prosecution appealed to the Appellate court, which overruled the lower court's order for a fresh trial and maintained the woman's conviction. In November, the Supreme Court reversed the appeals court and ordered a new trial. District Attorney Mike Hestron said Long's murder charge was withdrawn on Thursday. A news statement said, "We can no longer prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury, in part due to the lengthy passage of time since the murder and the deaths of key witnesses." Long has long defended the wrongfully convicted. Indio Kids heard her story in 2017.
I feel happy, elated, relieved, just a lot of emotions right now.
Long hoped her story would inspire more young people to become criminal defense lawyers during her presentation. Not resentful, appreciating my freedom. In her 2017 address, she said, "I'm glad if I can even influence one life. You smart, lovely youngsters could become lawyers and defend the unfairly guilty." As always, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.